Hey guys, it's the Five Nights at Freddy's story here, and today I am making a mini-series explaining everything I know about Five Nights at Freddy's 4. I know I am not active on my Afton series, but that was because I have no motivation to work on it. So without a further ado, let's begin the video. With a grain of salt. So we know that when Five Nights at Freddy's 4 first came out, we are introduced to the Fredbear Plush, and people do not know who he is or why this plush even exists in the first place, especially because it is a plushie that is based off of a vessel that the bite victim is so afraid of. But without a further ado, I will explain the reasons why the spirit inside the Fredbear plush is evil and it is a ghost. So, let's begin. Plushie has been debated for months now, and people still don't have an answer to it. Some people say it is Charlie, while others believe it is a walkie-talkie used by William. But there are too many things contradicting it. It makes no sense for the Fredbear plush to be a walkie-talkie. So I am going to list out reasons on why the Fredbear plush is a ghost. So, let's get into it. We first gotta figure out who the plushie is exactly. Well, my definitive answer is Cassidy for a lot of reasons, but first I will explain why it is a ghost. 1. According to the Plush Trap Kid, the plushie is invisible to everyone except for the bite victim. Quote, "Where is your plush toy? Mine is Spring Bonnie. My dad says I have to be very careful, or I will pinch my finger. He's a finger trap, he says." End quote. This proves that the plush is a ghost, but it doesn't stop there. There is more. 2. The Fredbear plush teleports everywhere the bite victim goes. 3. He talks to you even though he is not present. Like, inside of Fredbear's family diner is a great example of just that. 4. He pops his head out of the sewers. 5. He shapeshifts into a flower, but it is just the head. Finally, he is seen with white pupils, and sometimes he doesn't have white pupils. What? These are the things that normal plushies can't do. So, it proves that the Fredbear plush is a ghost. There are a lot of signs of the Fredbear plush being evil. 1. The Fredbear plush is overprotective. 2. What the spirit is doing is actually increasing the bite victim's fear more and more as time goes on. 3. He gave the older brother a very bad image. Quote, "He left without you. He knows that you hate it here. He hates you. He won't stop until you find him." 4. He said things that traumatize the bite victim to leave. No, don't you remember remember what you saw? The exit is the other way. Hurry up and leave. I feel that the spirit inside the Fredbear Plush is not a good spirit. These things actually lined up with a spirit that is vengeful and sadistic. I think that the Fredbear Plush has a connection with flowers, but I'll save that for later. People have problems with who the pigtail girl is. Many people say that she is just a random girl that bullies the bite victim, but I see it in another way. I believe that she is the ghost of the bite victim's sister, and here is why. It's important in Five Nights at Freddy's 4, but no one talks about it. And that thing is the yellow flowers. The yellow flowers have been like a connection between the pigtail girl, the bite victim, and the Fredbear Plush. If you remember, the yellow flowers next to the pathway to the house in the minigame, well, let me tell you something. They are the same yellow flowers that are next to the pigtail girl. It is telling that the pigtail girl is bite victim's sister. And that's not all. There's even a huge portrait of a flower in the empty girl's bedroom. And as I mentioned earlier, the Fredbear Plush shapeshifts into a flower, meaning that these three characters, the pigtail girl, the bite victim, and the Fredbear Plush, are the only ones who have connection with those yellow flowers. The speaker uses the text color FFFFA0. You know who else uses that text color? That's right, the pigtail girl. If the final speaker is using the same text color as the pigtail girl, then that means that the pigtail girl is the one speaking through the Fredbear Plush, which means that the Fredbear Plush and the pigtail girl have connections to the empty girl's bedroom. Five Nights at Freddy's World is a bit controversial in the storyline of Five Nights at Freddy's, but we have our answer in the intro cutscene. The entity in the intro sequence tells us that she won't let the same thing happen to the bite victim. And she also tells us to put us back together. Quote, everything that happens out there has an effect here. Do you understand? This is a safe place. This is a sanctuary. But something has gone wrong and now it can be seen here. Something went very wrong. That's why I am here. But I won't let the same happen to you. I will put you back together. End quote. These are the things that you get when you first open up the game. When you first play the game, FredBear will talk to the player. It will start as normal as first until it gets to that last sequence. And this only happens when you don't press the done button. Then it gets very encrypted. Quote, but you don't really believe that, do you? There is a task for you to complete. You have to leave breadcrumbs for him to help him find his way. End quote. And when you meet him again, he will tell you to find the clocks. The clocks are the hints to set up the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 mini-games. There are only 5 clocks in the game Five Nights at Freddy's World. The first clock leads us to a black void to a person holding a balloon, which is connected to Balloon Boy's air adventure. Not to mention that it also has a box where you have to push the Balloon Boy kit into it. The second clock leads us to the same void with 4 buttons, which is connected to Mangle's quest. The third clock leads us to 4 boxes and 4 cupcakes, and that is connected to Chica's party. The fourth clock leads us to 3 buttons with a code. I suggest that you stay in the middle with the second button because that is where the code is located and it is connected to the Stage 01 minigame. The final clock leads us to the same void with a rabbit and a box, which is connected to Shadow Mommy's minigame. After you find all of the clocks, you will see the GlitchBear one final time. He will tell you to find the key. After you find the key, you will unlock an area with a puddle. When you step into it, you will be greeted with the same yellow eye entity, and she will say this, quote, "We are still your friends. Do you believe that? The pieces are in place for you. All you have to do is find them. Rest." The ending is telling us that the clock ending is the canon ending, and the yellow eyes that the GlitchBear has are the same yellow eyes that the entity has. But it doesn't stop there. In the Update 2 ending, after you defeat Purple Geist, you will get a cutscene of the desk man talking to you. After you finish talking to him, you will be in the black void with the same yellow eye entity, and she will say this.
The show will begin momentarily. Everyone, please stay in your seats.
In Baby's voice, and it is the same eye entity in the intro sequence, the GlitchBear cutscene, and the clock ending sequence. It is no coincidence. Look, the faded text asks us a bunch of questions, but the interesting one is the page with the Fredbear Plush, and it asks, quote, "Does he still talk to you?" End quote. And the faded text knows who Michael is, and says in the faded text, quote, "My name," end quote, in the logbook. And if you go to a page with a grave on it, you will see a vase of flowers, and it says, "Rest in peace, my name." And in the word search, when you find the clues in the logbook, you will get the name Cassidy. This proves that Cassidy is the only spirit writing the faded and altered text in the logbook. The evidence that is backing up this point is the fact that the word search says, "It's me" on it, and "Who are you? What is your name?" Now, many people are confused by this, but I believe the full sentence is, "Who are you? It's me, Cassidy. What is your name?" So yeah, I believe that sentence is it. So, what do you think the sentence in the word search is? Stories helps us to fill in the blanks of the past, but I will just focus on only 2 stories. In Coming Home, Susie's sister Samantha visits her family home after she died, but can only visit in the daytime. She communicated with her with drawings. Quote from the book, "Drawing was all she could do. If she wrote a note, Samantha wouldn't read it. Don't draw too long," Samantha's mom said out in the hallway. "I'll be in to tuck you in soon." Susie heard Samantha's footsteps coming. She hurried to finish her drawing. When she was done, she left it lying on the floor and retreated to the window seat. End quote. This proves that Susie is trying to communicate with her sister with drawings, but at nighttime, she has to return to her animatronic vessel. I think this is what happens in the logbook when Cassidy uses it to try and communicate with Michael. I mean, we literally got the Cassidy code in the logbook, and there are flowers on the grave that have my name on it, proving that Cassidy is the spirit in the logbook. And since Coming Home is a story about siblings visiting their family home after their deaths, then it definitely proves that Cassidy is, in fact, the Fredbear Plush. In Gumdrop Angel, it seems that Angel hates Freddy's, and she wasn't thrilled about the stepdad thing. Angel is jealous about Ophelia being the favorite child. Angel and Myron don't like each other and have a huge rivalry, just like Cassidy in the games that has vengeful tendencies towards William. I think this is why Cassidy killed Elizabeth in Circus Baby's minigame in SL, but I am not at that part yet. I will get there soon, but Angel has other parallels to the two of the Afton kids, Bite Victim / Mike and the older brother. It wouldn't be a surprise that they would also be jealous of Elizabeth being the favorite child in the Afton household. There are most people out there who believe in these theories, and it got fans into it, but there are a lot of problems with these theories, and I'm going to explain why they have a lot of flaws in them. Many people use the Fredbear plush in the sister location private room as evidence for Willplush, but there is a problem with that. As I have talked about earlier, the Fredbear plush has ghostly abilities, and if he is a spy camera, then why would William place the plush in the weirdest places, such as the sewers, a separate head on a flower, and under a car near Fredbear's and near the Balloon Kid? These are the dumbest places to put a camera nearby. Also, the Plush Trap Kid clearly implied that the plushie is invisible, not to mention that the two cameras are only aimed in the gameplay bedroom at different angles, and one camera in Plush Trap's hallway. In the cliffs, Robert's wife died from childbirth, and he said that Tyler isn't enough. So, Robert got a tag-along Freddy for Tyler. Now, many people use this as evidence because Robert got him the plush so he can work and talk to Tyler. But there is a problem with this. Tag-along Freddy sends notifications to his wristwatch, and the tag-along Freddy repeats the phrase ever since Tyler went missing. Quote, "Why don't you go to the cliffs?" End quote. This proves that the tag-along Freddy isn't using Robert's voice. If you think this story is evidence for Willplush, then you need to reread the cliffs. Use this as evidence that Charlie is the one behind the plush. But there is a problem. The Fredbear Plush is overprotective and gave the older brother a bad image, as I mentioned earlier. Henry said in the Five Nights at Freddy's 6's true ending is that Charlie's nature is to protect the innocent. But the spirit has to go out of her way to possess the one plushie that is based off of an animatronic that the bite victim is so scared of. Also, in the warehouse level of Security Breach, you will find a room with a wall that has a picture of a girl in the gameplay bedroom of Five Nights at Freddy's 4, and a golden present. In the golden present, you will find a Nightmare On plush. That is evidence for Charlieplush, right? Wrong. If you get that plushie, it is not called a Nightmare On plush. No, it is called Nightmare. In the Halloween update of Five Nights at Freddy's 4, Nightmare On is the counterpart version of Nightmare. And Nightmare is called Shadow Freddy in the files. And we all know that Shadow Freddy is the recolored version of Golden Freddy, which means that Nightmare is the recolored version of Nightmare Fredbear. And if you listen to Nightmare On's jump scare and Nightmare's jump scare, it is very similar to Golden Freddy's jump scare. Also, the phone guy said that the puppet can go anywhere, and that means teleporting. Now, I know that you might be asking this question, and that is, but if the puppet is not the Fredbear Plush, then why did phone guy imply that he can teleport? Well, I have an answer to that, and that answer is the puppet didn't teleport. You see, if you play the games long enough, you will realize that the animatronics that they also teleported, but they only do that when the cameras go static. They just walk around until they get into your office. And it isn't proven in Help Wanted that the puppet just walks in the hallway towards your office. Also, people use the evidence of the plushie sitting on top of the grandfather clock, and in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the puppet's music box has a song, and the song is called 90 Years Without Slumbering. But as to what I just said about Nightmare and Nightmare On, I see this as evidence Charlie dying at Fredbear's. If you believe that Midnight Motorist takes place after her death, then it is more evidence that Nightmare On is the counterpart version of Nightmare, because those footprints most likely belongs to Shadow Freddy. Because if you listen to both of their voice lines from Ultimate Custom Night, you can tell that they are a complete parallel to each other if you listen to Nightmare and Nightmare On's voice lines. Also, Shadow Freddy is associated with following people home. As proven in the game's description of Five Nights at Freddy's 4, he followed Michael home. In the logbook, he followed Jeremy home. And on the night of his birth, after Charlie got killed, he followed William home. There you go. That is all of the reasons why I believe that the Fredbear Plush is not being used by William or Charlie, because based on its behavior, character, and actions, it would make no sense to be both of them. So, it has to be Cassidy. Thank you for watching. I hope you understand the reasonings of this, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you won't miss another upload. And stay tuned for part 2. Bye, guys!